Okay, so we'll take this to the next stage now. What we'll start doing now is we'll start putting the awning out over the front veranda area. So we'll construct some set out lines down at the floor level to start with that will cover both the veranda area and the carport out to the side. So here's where we'll go back to our layer drop down selector and select layer 0. So layer 0 will now be our current layer. Everything we construct from now on will go on layer 0. And remember, layer 0 we're using for all of these set out construction lines. So I'll grab my tape measure, hook the tape measure over the front grid line, which is on top of the red axis, and drag out to the front of the building in the veranda area, and we'll set out a construction line of 2100. So type 2100 and press enter. We'll also, while we're there, set out the side grid line or construction line for the width of the carport. So select on that last construction line, online, drag out in the red axis direction and type 3 meters, so 3000, and press enter. Okay, now we might do the rest of the simple modelling in the roof layer, so we'll go back up to our layer drop down selector and change to roof. And while we're in the roof layer, we might start setting up where this roof is going to go. Now, if I imagine the floor outside would be a 100mm thick slab sitting on a 50mm thick sand bed, if I was to place that directly on the ground, that would bring me up 150 above ground. Now, this building that we've set up at the moment, the floor level is 300 above ground. So if I come 150 below the floor level at the moment, that would set up the slab for the veranda area and the carport. In fact, maybe we'll first of all start constructing that slab first. So that might be a better place to start. I'll change the layer selector back down to floor, because we're going to be creating a floor here. I'll go and grab my pencil tool, I think might be the best. There's probably a couple of ways of doing this, but I think initially I'm going to start drawing this from the existing floor level. After I've drawn it up at this datum level to start with, I'll then move the faces down. So I'll draw from this corner of the building at floor level first, out to our grid line, out to our other grid line at the back there, including the carport, orbit round, might need to pan across as well, to this intersection point. Yep, and bring that back in to this intersection point here at the floor level again. And we've now created a flat surface which could be used for both the veranda and the carport area. Remembering this back area at the back here, the bathroom and kitchen, is a pop out from the main direction, so that's why I've only taken the carport back to the main set out line. Okay, so I'll do a push-pull. I'll push-pull that surface down, or I'll see if I can first of all move that surface. It might not go, but I'll try a move. No, it won't. It's constrained to the other things that it's connected to at the moment, which is the walls of the building. So it's probably better if we actually use push-pull, but and as we do use push-pull, select on the surface of the slab and pull it down initially 150. So you can drag down, let go if you like, and then type 150, enter. And then what I'll do, now that I've pulled it down that 150, is I'll actually select the top surface and delete it. And I'll go around the building selecting these other edges at the top surface and also the vertical edges. I'll then end up, what I'm aiming for is I'm aiming for the surface that we leave to be 150 millimetres below the floor surface. Don't be frightened to if you do get something a little bit wrong within one keystroke, all of a sudden I deleted the wrong thing then, but you can always undo that by these arrows up the top here. We can always undo the last thing that you've done. You can actually keep stepping back and undoing also. So don't be too frightened of trying anything, because you can always undo one step back or even a number of steps back. So I've got that top surface there now. I'll actually go around in the same way we did on the roof. I'll actually tidy up some of these lines that have been left behind. I like to keep the drawing tidy as we go. Yeah, I think that was the only one that we needed to tidy up in the back there. Then I'll grab push-pull again, and now push-pull that down another 150 again. So grab that push-pull. It won't go past the bottom of the building because it's connected to it, so it's limited to that 150 anyway. So I drag it right down to the full point where it was limited to 150. Just to double check that, I'll now type 150 before I do anything anyway. And that's made sure that is 150 millimetres thick. We can always check a measurement just to make sure of what we've done. So I'll zoom right up in on this corner, and I'll grab the tape measure, and this time I'm not going to measure along an edge. I'll go actually from a point to the other end point. I won't even click yet, because if I do click it might leave some construction geometry behind. I'll just hover until I can see the green dot popping up, which is indicating I am on an end point, and yes, it is giving me exactly 150. So before I even click and finish that command, I'm going to escape. So just hit escape, and I always escape a number of times to make sure the command is completely cleared. So we've constructed our floor slab for the veranda and carport area, which is 150 millimetres below our datum. So this is where I'll go back now to the roof layer. Set the roof layer as the next active one. And we might actually, that's a bit of a milestone there, so we might actually do a save right here to make sure we keep all of that. And I'll pause the video for a second, and we'll do the roof as the next step.